by the way, the wraps right now, 50% off. We got one hell of a sale right now. So if you want to maybe help yourself in your workouts and maximize them, you can use it before and after your workouts. If you've got an old injury that keeps giving you issues when you go play golf or you're playing pickleball or tennis or walking or running or working out, man, Red Recover, red light therapy can help any part of the body, neck, back, shoulders, knees, elbows, ankles, you name it. They've got a pad for the ladies to put on their face for the crow's feet, man. That's amazing. It's helping me grow hair. I mean, all kinds of stuff. Go to redrecover.com. Check out the video blogs. Check out the blogs. You get 50% off. I got the one for my wife for the bottom of her feet because she's a teacher and she's standing all day and she uses it every day for 15 minutes. And it is just absolutely amazing. They even have the wraps for the dogs in their back legs, their hips where they usually have some issues. There you go. We have one of our listeners that has a little Yorkie that broke both his legs. They've got steel bars inside, right? That they insert in, and he's had issues walking around. He's been using the pads now from Red Recover, and now the dog is having a much happier life and walking around and enjoying life with less discomfort. Even my man Sean, former Marine. Well, aren't you always a Marine, even when you're a Marine? Yes. Hoo-ha! Or is it hoo-ha or whatever it is? Huh? Or her hoo-ha or what? Huh? Hoorah? Hoorah? All right, hoorah! There we go. Anyways, this crazy bastard was jumping out of planes. Because of that, he's got a knee that's bone on bone, and he uses the Red Recover to alleviate that. You're not going to fix bone on bone, but getting the blood flowing there in that area relieves the pain and the discomfort. So redrecover.com, man. Check it out. Hayden Hurst uses it for the Cincinnati Bengals. All right, there he is, the man, the myth, the legend. How you feeling, baby? You feeling good? Everything good out there?
I'm good. As you know. Got two daughters at home, and one of them is fine, running around like a psycho. The other one is 9 months old, has an ear infection, sinus problem, and has oh god, I can't keep tracking whether it's a sinus infection, ear infection. She's something else. She's pink eye.
Oh, wow.
It's been a full week. It's been a full week, but she's on the mend. So it's now becoming a little bit more normal around the house. Kids are amazing. Like if I had any of those things, I would be face down and just that'd be the end of it.
Right.
She's like smiling through the whole thing, just happy, still her, just with a lot of snot, but like still her.
If you call Tim Tebow over and he just puts his hand on her, she'll be healed.
Yeah, it's incredible. Like if that was me, forget it. I'd be done. She's happy, still like trying to scoot around the house, just looking like death. But we're getting there.
By the way, did you ever see that video of that guy having a seizure at a minor league baseball game and Tim Tebow put his hand on him and the seizure stopped?
No.
Oh, seriously. No, the video's out there. Go on YouTube. You'll see it. Put boy seizure Tebow or whatever, and I'm sure it'll come up. And he was at one of his minor league games, and some kid started having a seizure, and he walked over and he touched him. The seizure ended.
That's incredible.
And it's believable because it's Tim Tebow, right? That's the thing. You really think about it. No one else in the world can make you think that is actually possible. But when they tell you it's Tim Tebow, you're like, well, yeah, it might be possible. Yeah. Let me not go out on a limb saying, no way. Oh, it's Tim Tebow, bro. I'm not messing with that. I'm not messing with that mojo, right? That's what it is.
Yeah.
Can't mess with that mojo. By the way, I know it hasn't happened. So, it's like this entitlement thing that would be coming from you, but it's not really an entitlement thing because you guys are, the Chiefs are badasses. How are the Chiefs family and fans and all that about this whole AFC Championship game neutral site? Because this team earned the right to be home the entire year. So I'm just wondering, I understand these are unprecedented things and it's out of everybody's control and they're trying to make the best of it. But I'm wondering, what has the talk been around the Chiefs world?
It's been split. I think, some people say, look, man, it's an unbelievable circumstance and tragedy was avoided. And that's really the important thing. And if they got to go play a neutral site game, then whatever, they'll go play a neutral site game. I think about half the fan base feels that way. The other half of the fan base feels like the Chiefs have the best record in the AFC. They should be home, and it's unfortunate what happened, but the Bills didn't finish that game. And the Chiefs have one more win, the same amount of losses, and the Chiefs should be home. I fall on the side of, you know what? I think the neutral site's a fair thing. I do.
It's a fair thing, but what if we just left it as if the Bengals and the Bills meet in the playoffs, they will play in a neutral site. But the Chiefs have earned the right and should not be penalized for what went on. So when the Bengals or the Bills advance, they will go to Kansas City if Kansas City obviously has advanced. I know we're getting ahead of ourselves out there, ladies and gentlemen, but I have to ask it, especially with Matt on and him having such a great pulse of the Chiefs, fan base. That's the only thing that I thought of. And I know as a talk show host, if I was in Kansas City, that's what I would be pissed at. I would be saying, whoa, wait a minute. Hold on a second. You can't penalize everybody else because of this. It's a sad situation. We're glad that it turned out awesome, but it should only affect the teams that were involved in it, not the teams that weren't involved in it. And luckily for us, the Kansas City Chiefs have a record that cannot be argued. They earned that number one spot. They should be the host. Now, if Cincinnati or Buffalo advance and they have to meet each other, let's put them in a neutral field. That way, neither one gets an advantage. That would have been fair.
I think the team with the gripe really is Cincinnati, because the Bengals finished a half game behind the Bills. It was really early. They were winning the game. Why isn't Bills Bengals at a neutral site? Like, why do the Bills play that game at home? For what reasoning? The Bills didn't earn that game at home. So I think that, truthfully, that's the game to me. That, like, if I'm the Bengals, I'm furious. The Chiefs, I mean, look, you could argue it one of two ways. You could say no team's ever had the most wins in a conference and not been at home in an AFC title game. You could also argue it and say no team has ever beaten another, which the Bills beat the Chiefs, had the same amount of losses at the end of the year and been seated behind them. So I think it's fair. I don't have a problem. I will also say this, and we are getting ahead of ourselves. So all these teams have to win these games.
Of course.
I do not think the Bills.
Juicy subject that we have to talk about, bro.
I don't think it's going to end up coming to fruition because I don't think the Bills will beat the Bengals. So
okay.
I could be wrong, obviously, but the Bills' pass defense has not been good for a while at this point, and you're going to stop the Bengals with that team? I don't know. But you know what? Ultimately, if the Chiefs end up going to the AFC title game, they play Buffalo and it's in Atlanta and they lose to them, you know what? To me, then it's, I'm never going to look back at that and go, well, that was an arrowhead. I mean, these things happen. The Chiefs will have an opportunity. Again, you know what?
But you guys are unstoppable in Arrowhead, right? Isn't like 7 of 8 in the Mahomes era you've won, right? Or something like that? Something stupid?
Didn't win there last year in the AFC title game.
Right, so that's the one loss, right? Or something like that?
They've lost twice. They've lost Ed.
Twice. I'm sorry, you're 6-2. Okay,
they lost to Brady in Mahomes' first MVP year in that overtime game. But no, my point is, listen, the funny thing is, statistically, they've been a hell of a lot better this year away from home. They've actually been a lot better as a road team. So, I get it. Like, it's a juicy topic, and to me, I'm not too overstung about it. If the Chiefs have to go down there and play that game, you're in the AFC Championship game, go down there and win, and then you'll be favored whoever you play against in the Super Bowl. So we will see. The Chiefs are probably going to play whoever wins out of Jacksonville and the Chargers. And I don't know if you saw this just happen. Mike Williams is now ruled out.
I know he's out now.
He's also apparently out for the season because he broke his back. So just a phenomenal job by Brendan Staley to play these guys in a game that meant nothing, not seeding, nothing. And Mike Williams goes out and fractures his back.
An injury, by the way, an injury-prone player that you put in that position.
I mean, and then to hear him after the game say, we only have 48 guys addressed. What do you want me to do? Play the guys who are backups. Like, do you not have those guys? Like, what is happening? That was the dumbest comment I've ever heard from a coach. Honestly, genuinely, no hyperbole. That is the dumbest thing I've ever heard somebody say. Yeah. You have 48 players and you can't figure out how to sit your top 7 or 8 guys?
Yeah.
You kidding? Unbelievable.
Yeah. Yeah. No, it's he's come up with some doozies. I'll tell you that. There's no doubt about that. Derek Carr said goodbye to the Raiders.
Yeah.
Where does Derek Carr end up?
Well, when you look at it, they've got to trade him before February 15th or his guarantees kick in. Right, so they have to cut him. I mean, that's a pretty early. Usually those mechanisms and contracts are like right at the beginning of free agency. It's like March 10th, March 12th. You know what? February 15th is early, which was a great move by Carr's agent because he's really forcing the Raiders' hand. Like, and he has a no trade. So at first in the deal, when the news came out about him getting sat down for Stidham, I was like, all right, well, they'll trade him. But now this February 15th thing, like, they're not going to be able to trade him. I mean, he's gonna get cut. I think the Jets make all the sense in the world, frankly. Like, he can go in there, be a huge upgrade over Zach Wilson, stabilize that team. I think with him, they're probably a playoff team. I mean, I think they're probably good enough to get in the playoffs.
Hell yeah, with that defense, and they get Brees Hall back next year.
Right? Yeah, you'd think they'd be good enough to make the playoffs. You look at like the Colts. I think the Colts have just got to go young. They've done the veteran thing. I think you got to get younger there. They got the 4th overall pick. I don't know that Carr would want to go here after all the dysfunction he's dealt with, but Washington certainly could use a quarterback. But if you're Derek Carr, like, do you want to go there?
Want to play for that owner?
Right. I mean, that's kind of the point. Like, I wouldn't want to go there.
No.
Tampa's probably gonna need a quarterback. You want to go play in Tampa?
Not a bad team.
Not terrible. No, like, you could do worse, right? So I mean, that's an interesting spot.
Could you go to the Texans?
You could. I mean, I think though, if you go there, you're
you have a boatload of picks, by the way.
Right. I mean, I think if you're the Texans, you're going to take a quarterback in the first round. I think that's probably how this is going to play out. To me, the leader in the clubhouse is the Jets. But I'll give you one dark horse. What about the Giants? If Daniel Jones goes out and doesn't play well in this playoff game, like, I think it's a very tenuous situation. He's been better, but he hasn't been exactly great. Could you go to the Giants? My guess, though, is the Jets make, to me, the most sense. The Jets are the team. Also a dark horse, Tennessee. Tennessee needs better.
Because obviously they screwed up with Malik. Because if you sign Joshua Dobbs off the street, and that's like an indictment on your guy. Like, yeah, we can't even trust him to go out there and do a couple of things.
Right.
That was pretty bad that you made that kind of an investment and that kid can't even help you out at all. Yeah, no, the Titans are ready to compete right now. That's actually a really good one, dude.
Yeah, I mean, the Titans make a ton of sense. Like, you have a team like the Saints, who have no cap space but seemingly find it every year. I mean, when you go to the Saints, and so I think there's a lot of moving parts there. But to me, if you said to me, who's the best fit, I think it's the Jets. I think the Jets are the team that if you put him in there and you add a few more pieces on offense, like, that's a pretty good team. Are they the Bills, Bengals, Chiefs? No, but are they like maybe on the next level? Yeah, they probably could be. So, right. I like that. And he gives you a couple of years where you can kind of build the program up, be good, and then go make your big swing if you want to. Then go try to trade up and get your guy for the next 15 years. I think that makes sense.
The screwed up part about the Carr thing is that while you would love for him to get cut and then you can then negotiate a new contract with him, that new contract may not be as friendly as the one you're going to inherit. And so it's really interesting because if you want to inherit, because I'm looking at it right now in 2023, he's got a $32.9 million base salary with only $100,000 workout. So it's a $33 million hit. In 24, it's a $41.9 million base salary, 100K hit, $42 million cap it. You can rework it in that second year to then extend it out. So you either inherit the current contract, Matt, or you wait and he gets cut, then you have to negotiate a new contract, which then you can make a cap-friendly first-year salary. There's no doubt about that, and then rework the rest. But he's probably going to ask for more money then at that point. So do you inherit this contract but give up compensation, or do you risk it and say, well, I'll wait till he gets released and then sign him to a fresh contract? How do you attack that?
I would probably lowball the hell out of the Raiders with an offer and see if I could. I mean, I'd be like, look, I'm going to give you a 3rd round pick. That's it. That's what I give. That's what I'll give you. And
they're going to take anything instead of cutting him. You're right.
That's right. Right. Like I'd be, because to me, a 3rd round pick for a quarterback of Carr's caliber is worth the insurance, right? Like I'm willing to do that, but I'd be like, listen, I'm not giving you anything better than that. I'm not. You're getting one day 2 pick, back half, middle of the 3rd round, and take it or leave it because you're cutting them otherwise. So what? Wait a minute.
Hold on. I just thought about this. They're going to get a compensatory pick, and it'll be a 3rd rounder because they drafted him in the 1st.
Not if they release him.
Oh no, they don't get the compensation.
Only
they don't
get used as a free agent when his contract expires. Not if they cut him. They get nothing.
Oh, okay.
They get nothing.
Good job by you. Okay.
So if I'm the Raiders and we're on Valentine's Day, I'd be like, you know what? Sounds good. Yeah. I mean, because it's like you said, it's better than nothing. Like you walk away, get a top 100 pick. Like, and if you're the Jets, then you also know that you're getting him for sure. You don't have to worry about free agency and what. And I've seen people say, well, that's a bad contract. It's not that bad of a contract. If you look at the deal, it's really not that bad. Like quarterbacks in the league now, I mean, Kyler Murray's getting over $40 million a year. Who would you rather have, Derek Carr or Kyler Murray?
God.
I mean, give me Carr. So
that's a cancer of a contract.
I mean, right? Like, who would you rather have? And I think people like honestly. I mean, Big O, how much of a difference is there between Derek Carr and Dak Prescott?
Oh, I think Derek Carr's better.
Like, I mean, you could really you could argue that, and I might even agree with you. Like, Dak's making $40 million a year.
Yeah.
So if you're getting Derek Carr,
that's the going rate for a franchise quarterback.
Yeah. Now. If you're getting Derek Carr from mid-30s, you're barely paying him more than Tannehill's getting paid.
Exactly.
It's not a bad contract. Not at all.
No, that's why you trading for him, I think, as long as you have the cap space. And actually, you could trade for him and then rework the deal if you want to kind of loosen up some money if you feel like it and all that stuff, because you're inheriting the contract. You can then rework it after that if you want to do it, if you're desperate for some cash. So it's not a big deal. But, when Sean handed me the salary, I was like, okay, yeah, you got to trade for him because you're going to get a cheap salary that first year, believe it or not, because like you just mentioned, the going rate is $40 to $50 million for a franchise quarterback. It's no less than 40 for real franchise guys. And then the elite guys are getting all the way. Your guy's over 50, right? Or 50 or whatever?
He's at $45 million a year.
Right. Okay.
Yep. Yeah. Which, by the way, is insane when you consider he's signed for like 9 more years. So by the time we get to like the middle of that contract, I mean, there's going to be like league average quarterbacks going for $50 million a year.
Bargain.
Yeah, it worked out okay. But it'll be interesting. I think Carr. There's going to be a lot of veteran quarterback. I mean, Wentz is going to be out there. Carr's. Now I don't know if he gets another starting job. But you know what, man? It is amazing to me. The more I'm around the league and around it's amazing to me how many guys can watch a player fail here, there, everywhere, and go, you know what? I can fix that guy. And let's give him $35 million to come in here and let me fix him. It's like he's not good. I don't care that he throws the ball with a lot of velocity. He stinks. Yeah, but I can fix it. Okay.
What happened to him, bro? He was an MVP caliber quarterback the first couple of years. He was doing stuff out there that you were like jaw dropping.
Yeah.
And then he lost his mojo.
He got hurt.
And he got hurt a whole bunch of times. And then he just never it sucked the life out of him, all those injuries. Because I know he's very religious and all those kind of things. And you just wonder, there's a reason why, and you've been around it like I have for a while. There's a reason why football people will tell you, no, I want a guy that loves football.
No doubt.
You know what I mean?
I will say this. I think a lot of it had to do with that injury. He was never the same guy after that. But I also think he's had a tough time relating to people in the room. Yeah. That's not, I'll put it this way. That's not just my opinion.
It's God, but dude, God squatters always have this issue. Yeah. You have to be smart enough to not force it on people. Sure. Like Mark Brunell and Kurt Warner were God squatters, bro. Big time God squatters, but they didn't force it on anybody.
I think,
and they weren't it wasn't like an open thing about their lives to everybody about everything. You know what I mean? Like, you got to hear the stories about this guy at the club. That's just the way it goes, bro. You're going to have to hear this story about this guy banging this other one or whatever, and you're going to have to relate to guys because when you walk into that locker room, there's all kinds of characters, dude, and you've got to learn to be able to relate to those people. And if you think you're above that because of your religion or whatever it is, that's going to hurt in the way you communicate with people and get the max out of them because you're a leader. You need to do that, and it's been a weird situation with him.
You're right. I mean, you can get away with it if you're the left guard, right? But if you're the quarterback and you have to lead the team, you have to be the leader of the entire team and not just a subset of it. And I think with Wentz, it was eye-opening, I think, what happened in Indianapolis. When he goes there and they won 9 games, they fell apart at the end of the year.
Yeah.
And I'll never forget, man. I was in Indy for the combine like I am every year, and I was standing there, and on one side of me, because if you've ever been in the room, it's a convention hall, and they just have podium after podium after podium. Right. I was standing in between Chris Ballard and Brett Veach, who were doing their podium simultaneously. So I'm talking to a couple of colleagues of mine, and we're listening into the 2 different guys, who's saying what. And Ballard, by NFL standards, just basically laid into Wentz. Like during the middle of this thing, it was like, yeah, I don't know if we want him back. Like, I'm not paraphrasing, but basically it was like, we don't know if we want him back. Right. It's been a problem. To say that when you haven't even traded the guy is just, I remember we all kind of like slowly turned and looked at Ballard and we're like, we'll put Veach on the back burner for 5 minutes. Let's listen to this. And it was incredible. I remember writing about it and just thinking like
Ron Rivera this year, bro.
Right. I mean, when you're in an organization, let's face it with the NFL treats this like it's the CIA. Okay. Every team treats every little bit of information like it is national security. And for these teams to come out and just be like, yeah, he's a problem. I mean, the Colts were willing to move on from him, not knowing who the quarterback was going to be. Right. Like they were like, we will trade him, and if Sam Ehlinger's the quarterback, fine. And then Matt Ryan fell into their laps because of the Deshaun Watson situation. Okay,
and it's the guy that coached him in Philly.
Yeah, right. And right. I mean, it's just. But my point is, I think Carr's certainly going to be out there. Wentz is going to be out there. Mayfield's going to be out there. Some teams going to talk themselves into giving Mayfield a shot. You're going to have all these guys. Matt Ryan probably going to be out there again. I think at this point, Matt Ryan is over. It's
retire, bro.
Yeah, it's over. Nick Foles retire.
Phenomenal career, retire, dude.
Yeah,
you've done it.
Exactly. But you're going to have guys out there, and you know as well as I do, like you're going to get some team that just talks themselves into it because, well, he's got an arm, he's got a pedigree, he was a number 2 overall pick, he was a number 1 overall pick in Mayfield's case. Like some team will do it. I don't think Geno's getting to the market. I think he'll stay in Seattle. And that's probably. And then of course. By the way, I left out the most important. You have Brady. What's going on with him? And where's he getting
Raiders, everybody thinks because of Josh McDaniel.
I'll give you one, though, that I cannot believe is not talked about more. If the Niners fall short in the playoffs, you're going to tell me they're not making that phone call? Because of Brock Purdy and Trey Lance? You kidding me? Yeah. Like, he grew up there. He's a fan of the team. Like, right. And if you're Brady, I'm sorry. The Raiders or the Niners, who do you want to play for?
It's not even close.
Come on.
Brady has to do less to win with the Niners than he does with the Raiders.
Brady can stand around for 4 months, and then when the playoffs come, earn his check for 3 weeks. I mean, let's be honest. Hand the ball off, watch the defense give up 10 points, and hey, we've got Kyler, Geno, and Matt Stafford will win the division going away. You go to the AFC West, you got to deal with Mahomes and Herbert, and then, by the way, you have all the other quarterbacks in the conference. You got Burrow, you got Allen, you got Lawrence emerging. Yeah, I mean, to me, if the Niners even are remotely interested, that's where I would think you would go. But yeah, the Raiders, because of McDaniels, there's that tie-in.
I'm with you there. All right, let's go over some of the games. Your thoughts on it. Seattle and the Niners. Niners all the way. Niners are by 9.5. What are you doing there?
Yeah, I mean, I have a hard time seeing Seattle win that game. Seattle has scored 13 total points in 2 games against San Francisco on offense, and 10 of those points were in garbage time. So I don't know, man. Like
I think they cover. I think the Niners
cover too.
Number.
Yeah, I think they cover too. I think it's probably around the number. I think it's like 24-13 or something. But the only thing is it's going to rain like hell there on Saturday. So maybe that makes it a little interesting. But yeah, I'm with you. I think they cover. I I just don't see a case for Seattle going in there and winning that game unless the Niners just turn over a bunch of times.
By the way, breaking news: Teron Armstead is practicing for the Miami Dolphins. Wow,
there you go.
He has not played a non-Tua game.
Yeah, that's surprising.
Every time Bridgewater or Skyler have to start, he doesn't play the game. And, and so he's back at practice. That's a huge sign that if he's at practice today, he's playing for sure on Sunday. There's no reason for him to practice if he wasn't going to play. He's got like 4 injuries, dude.
I gotta be honest, I'm shocked.
He just told us 2 days ago that he needs surgery, but he's holding it off to the end of the year. So, that's crazy. All right, Chargers -2.5 versus the Jags. No Mike Williams. What do you think about that one? Because I would not be surprised if the Jags win this game.
I thought the Jaguars were going to win this game before Mike Williams got hurt. I think they're going to win it now. Here, 2 reasons. I'll be succinct. 1, the Jaguars have a good coach. The Chargers don't have a coach. That's number 1. Number 2, Jacksonville's game play, the way they play, is a nightmare for the Chargers. It's a bunch of short, quick passes, and it's running the ball. And the Chargers can't stop anybody from running the football. And those quick passes will take Bosa and Mack out of the game. And it's just going to be one of these games that's going to dink and dunk and run the ball. And the Chargers now without Williams, you double Allen, and what else? What do you care about?
And you got a mobile quarterback just in case for Bosa too. So that's
right. By the way, one stat that I looked up or unearthed or whatever you want to say that's wild in my opinion. So Eckler had 107 receptions this year. Of anybody who's had that many catches or more in a single season, only Jarvis Landry, former Dolphins great, was under 1,000 yards for the year. He had 987.
Right, yeah.
Eckler had 722. That's impossible. Only 4 catches that went for over 20 yards and none for more than 23. So basically, it's yes, he's going to catch a bunch of passes. They will go for 6 yards of play. That's what it is. So if you're Jacksonville, you're we're going to double Allen and nothing else is happening. They're not beating us any other way. They can't run the ball. So I think Jacksonville is going to win the game. I think the Chargers are more talented when they're healthy, but I don't know that they're healthy. Williams obviously is not. I like Jacksonville at home to win the game.
All right. Sunday, we got Giants and Vikings. The 2 teams I don't trust. Where do we go?
Yeah, that game is the game, that if you told me anything happened, I'd believe it.
Over 48 is what I like about this game.
No question. I would take over 55, I think, in this game. The Vikings can't stop anybody. But the Giants also, while they are somewhat capable defensively, they're not going to be able to cover Jefferson and Thielen and Hawkinson. So I think it's a really high-scoring game. I think that it's 31-28, something like that. I know it's a trendy thing. I'm going to pick the Giants. I think the Giants are just playing better. The Vikings are just a mess in a lot of these games. I know they find a way to win them. Give them credit, but I think the bell tolls midnight on them.
Yeah, and then that's usually what happens to those teams that are eking by all those wins in the key moment when it comes to the season at the end. That's the one close game that they don't get over the hump. Ravens and Bengals. This is not even going to be a game. Bengals are favored by 9.5. What do you think?
You know what? I'm gonna surprise you with this. And I think the Bengals are playing the best ball maybe in football. They're gonna win the game. I think the Ravens are gonna cover that game. I think the Ravens are gonna drag that game into the mud. They're gonna run the ball. They're gonna play good defense. They're gonna turn that into a physical rock fight. That's what that game. I wouldn't be surprised. We're sitting in the fourth quarter and you're how is this game 19-13 right now?
Right.
Well, because the Ravens can cover and they can get after the quarterback. The one concern I have in this game, the Bengals don't have the right side of the offensive line in this game. That could be a problem. That could be where, if you're the Ravens, you just relentlessly go after it. I think they will win. I just can't see Tyler Huntley winning this game. But I could see a world where the Bengals win, but they win by a touchdown.
Okay. By the way, they do have Red Recover's own Hayden Hurst.
That is true.
Right, so we got to go Bengals here. All right, Monday, 8:15. It's the Cowboys and the Bucks, and the Cowboys are favored by 2.5. And the Bucks have had that terrible, weird season and all that stuff. But dude, and the Cowboys are better. But can I trust them?
You and I are going to say the same thing. Yep, we're going to say the exact same thing.
Oh,
I have spent all week defending myself, and I've gone on the radio, made this decision. I am taking Tampa Bay to win this game. There's no logical reason that Tampa should win this football game. They have been
none.
awful all
None.
year.
Right.
Their coaching is horrible. They're a mess. And yet, I look across the field and I see the star, and I say to myself, if there's ever a team that will turn the ball over twice, that will miss a field goal, that'll take a dozen penalties, that'll mismanage the clock, and it'll just leave the ball in Brady's hands with 2 minutes to go, and the Cowboys are up by 4, you're like, that's the game. That is 100% the game. I think the Bucs will win, and I'll go one further. I think McCarthy will be out as their head coach if they lose that game within 48 hours.
That makes sense.
I don't care what Jerry Jones says, because he loves Sean Payton. They're best friends, and I think Sean Payton would be on the hotline immediately in Dallas.
Oh, God. Does Sean want to work with him? God.
Yes.
Will he get in his way? That's the thing. Oh, man. Maybe, you know what, with Sean, maybe he'll give him a little bit more free reign because he'll trust him.
He's exceedingly close to Sean Payton.
Yeah. Okay. All right. I like that. All right. And the final one, the most painful one of them all. Bills are favored by 13.5 against our Dolphins. Over and unders 43.5. How ugly will it be, Matt Verderame?
Yeah, I'm sorry, guys. I'm taking the Bills to cover this game. Skylar Thompson is just not going to win this game.
Dude, a couple of days ago, before Wednesday morning, I come on the air, right? And the line is 9.
Yes.
And I told everybody, bet the Bills now. If you love the Bills, do it now. Don't wait till the Tua announcement, because if Tua is not going to play, the line is going to jack up. And sure enough, whoever took it at 9 earlier in the week, oh my God, what a bargain! Bro.
Congratulations. If Teddy was even playing, I would take the Dolphins to cover. I'd be like, you know what? He's a professional quarterback. Like, he could keep it within 10 points, whatever. I will say this though: if you're a Dolphins fan, you want to have some hope. I just published and wrote and tweeted out a piece about 12 playoff games in NFL history since the 70 merger that have had like crazy quarterback upsets, like absolutely like Wade Wilson beating Joe Montana in the 87 playoffs. Okay. And like Tim Tebow beating Ben Roethlisberger. Crazy things have happened before like this, but yes, I mean, to pick it would be insane.
They're too injury riddled, bro. That's the thing also about the Dolphins. Not just Tua being out, which obviously they're a completely different team with Tua than the other two guys, but they also are missing so many guys on this team. Brother, if you're going to beat the Bills, you got to be pretty close to fully healthy to beat those Bills.
Do you view it as a successful season for the Dolphins?
No.
Okay.
No, unfortunately, because you won 9 or 10 with flow. So you got your offensive coach, who then got you Tyreek and Teron Armstead and Connor Williams and Wilson and Mostert and all this stuff. They added everything for you. So I said at the beginning of the year, you need to win 11 or 12 for me in order for this to be a successful season. The only way it can be a successful season, winning on Sunday. That's it. That's the only way that it's a successful season, because winning 9 games for me in a 17-game schedule, when you inherited a 9 or 10 win team that had no offense, that doesn't impress me. That's my problem with it. So I can't call this a successful season unless you beat the Bills on Sunday. Then I'll say, all right, dude, you made up for it.
If they beat the Bills on Sunday, hey, it's a great year.
Bigger upset. Them beating the Bills on Sunday. Rex Chapman scoring 39 with the Heat having 8 guys after the Alonzo Mourning trade. No Zoe. And here comes Michael Jordan and Scottie Pippen, and Rex Chapman scores 39 to beat them. Is it the 03 Marlins? Now, they did get to a World Series, so that's not flukish already at that point. They were the hottest team from May, but they did beat the Yankees in their $200 million payroll, or the 83 Canes. Now, they weren't the dynasty team at that point. That was the beginning of it, but they got there, and they were facing the big, bad Nebraska Cornhuskers, who were the monsters of the Midway in those days. And then I'm trying to come up with the biggest, like, South Florida upsets in history, and this might be the number one.
How about the 96 Panthers getting another Stanley Cup final?
Well, getting there, but they got their asses.
They did get their asses kicked, but I mean, but they got there, which is pretty incredible.
No, I know. Yeah, you're right. I mean, but again, you know hockey. They had a goaltender that was just out of his freaking mind. The Beezer was just on his head, blocking everything. I covered that team. I was in the locker rooms for all of that. And man, Beezer was they did have a good defense. They couldn't score with a fistful of dollars in a whorehouse. There's no doubt about that. I'm with you there. But they did have a hell of a defense that they would not allow you to score, man, with that clutch and grab defense.
No, they were. Oh yeah, that was back in the NHL's days where you could tackle some guy and it was like, it's all right. You know, believe me, I'm a Devils fan. We invented that defense. By the way,
you know about hot goaltending because you had a hot goaltender for years and years and years and years.
20 years. Yeah, and then he retired and he sucked forever. But by the way, I see the shirt. You going to the Senior Bowl?
Yeah, man, I go every year. I didn't go the last 2 years because of the pandemic.
Sure.
I haven't gone to the Combine the last 3 years because of the pandemic. Now I'm back on the road again, so I'll be going to the Senior Bowl at the end of the month. And I'll go to you'll be at the Senior Bowl?
I'll be there.
Oh, we'll hang then, man. We'll hang.
Be there all week. I'll be there. Combine, Glendale, the draft. I'm traveling, man, this time of year. So
I love it. I love it. All right, man. I like it. So so you got the Bills minus 13. I don't blame you, bro. I don't blame anybody. I'd love
to see a competitive game. I just look, there's one way the Dolphins can win this game. I mean this genuinely. It's Tyreek Hill or Waddle just having one of those games where every time the ball's in their hands, it just turns into a race down the sideline or something, which that can happen. Like there have been that it's going to have to be that, and the defense is going to have to make some turnovers happen. It's just they're going to have to pick Allen off. They're going to have to force a fumble. The one thing for the Dolphins and the Ravens, I think is true this week, because nobody thinks you can win. You have a certain freedom to play very loose.
Amen.
Like if you're McDaniel and on the opening kickoff, you do an onside kick, who the hell's going to blame you for it?
Nobody.
Right. So you can play in a way that the other team can't. Like the Bills can't do that. The Bills are not going to have an onside kick to start the game. Nobody's going to kill the Dolphins for going for a 4th and 7 at their own 40. Like nobody's going to kill them for it. If you lose by 50, what the hell's the difference? It's a playoff game. You're not getting one or 50. It doesn't matter. So I think if you're the Dolphins, you can do some of that stuff. Like you can just say, we're gonna do some weird. Like I would have told Tyreek Hill this week, you're getting the ball 20 to 25 times this week. If we have to hand off to you 10 times, throw to you 15 times, it's a playoff game. I don't care. Paying you $30 million a year, you're going to see the ball plenty. Him and Waddle, and I'd get the ball in their hands. By the way, Mostert, he's healthy for this game?
No, man. He's going to try. He's done. He fractured his thumb, bro. You can't hold on to the ball. It's done.
Has he been ruled out?
Yeah, he hasn't been ruled out, but he's done, bro.
I knew he was hurt.
Play with a fractured thumb at running back, dude. The defense knows you have a fractured thumb. Good luck under those piles.
Yeah, well,
have fun.
I knew he was hurt, and so I couldn't remember if he was ruled in or not. I was having a brain cramp. But you know what? If I'm the Dolphins,
defensive tackle reaching into that and going, "Hey, hi, Raheem, how you doing?" And like that, just in the middle of the pile. Yeah, these people are sons of you know what in those piles. You know that. You know what they do in those piles. Yeah, bad.
There's no safe space under the pile.
No, none. And your privates are all exposed in those piles.
I've thought about writing an article about asking people what happens underneath the pile, and I've asked a handful of players, and they're always like, "Bro, I can't even give you an honest description of that."
I've heard fingers and rears and
everything.
And finger in an ear hole and poke the eye and gouge them however you can, stack them in the neck to make them loosen the ball or whatever. Because once you're in that pile, the refs can't see everything going on, so you're trying to fight for your guy and trying to loosen up that ball. And that thing changes hands 2 or 3 times sometimes down there before they actually find out who has it. So, yeah, they've told me all the things that they're like, bro, I don't care what I have to do to that guy to make him, release it. If I got to rub my whatever in his face, I'll do it. they'll do it. They don't care. It's really, really nasty in those piles, dude.
Yeah, they are. They are.
All right, tell them about Stacking the Box, my man.
Check it out every Tuesday at noon Eastern live on YouTube, or you can just find it wherever you get your podcast. Download it there and subscribe if you could. Really would appreciate it. The column comes out every Monday morning, covers the entire league. And then, like I said, I've got a piece up right now, 12 of the greatest quarterback based upsets in NFL playoff history. And if you're a Dolphin fan, you should read it. Give you some hope. There's some crazy ones. Like, listen, Mark Malone once beat John Elway in Denver in a playoff game. Yeah. These things do happen. So
it happens. We got to the Super Bowl with Woodstock, right?
Jay Fiedler beat Peyton Manning.
There you go.
It happens. Right. It happens.
That's right.
Keep the faith.
Yeah, there you go. You never know. Follow him on Twitter at Matt Verderame. And, of course, catch him, as always, doing his thing right here with us with our redrecover.com huddle. Matt, have a great weekend. Hope the daughter gets better, my friend. We'll catch up next week.
Thanks a lot, Big O. Take care.
You got it. There you go. Matt Verderame, we step out of the huddle.